We're starting with the mandala prayer. Thank you. So we recite the refuge and Bodhicitta prayer, then for immeasurable thoughts, then salutations to Guru Shakyamuni Buddha and lineage gurus like such as His Holiness Dalai Lama. Sanje je danzo ye jana la janju bado dani jazo je da je che je ve zonama dola benje zanje du barai jo sanje je danzo ye jana la janju bado dani ja da je che je ve zonama je dola ben Sanje Drupara Jo Sanje Chedan Zoje Chenala Janju Bado Daji Cheje Jebe Zonamanje Dola Benje Sanje Drupara Jo. So then meditate on four immeasurable thought, and then expressed sincere altruism, great compassion, unconditional love, empathy, from depth of your heart to rest of this numberless sentient beings. Semje damje dewa dang dewe ju dang dembra ju je semje damje dunga dang dunga je ju dang dawa ju je semje damje dunga mebe dewa dang mi dawa ju je semje damje mi re ja ye dang dawe dang nyo la ne bra ju ro ji semje damje dewa dang dewe ju dang dembra ju je semje damje dunga dang dunga je ju dang dawa ju semje damje dunga mebe dewa dang mi dawa ju je semje damje ni ne ja dang ni dang dawe dang nyo la ne bra ju Semje damje dewa dan dewe ju dan dembra ju je semje damje dunga dan dunga ju ju dan dawa ju je semje damje dunga mebe dewa dan mi dawa ju je semje damje ni re chan nye dan dawe dan nyo la ne ba. Then feel the presence of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha and all the enlightened celestial beings right very here. being omniscient, there's not even one single atom where there's no existence of the Buddha. So here very much depend on whether you have the conviction of their existence or not. Buddha ever exists, Buddha ever present among us. In order to receive Buddha's blessing effectively, we need to create interdependent conditional cause from our side. So therefore, expressing conviction of his present, then generating sincere faith, understanding the enlightened abilities, enlightened qualities, and also all the holy object that you have here, to understand the absolute Buddha, not just a material statue form, but the actual Buddha is there. Then all the, also to understand the presence of all the lineage gurus, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Jabja Lama Surinche, and all your spiritual gurus. They are present. They are absolute being in the nature of enlightenment. They are enlightened being. All the gurus are enlightened being. So therefore, similar like the Buddhas, there's no even one single atom where there's no existence of the gurus. Then yourself express the readiness to receive the blessings of the Buddhas, through the teaching. To receive the blessings of the teaching through your practice of devotion, through your practice of faith, venerations, supplications, and dedications of your time, your energy for this very session. So like that. Gangi dozene zone dawa tamje bambejire dambejine denzeba godam dela chance go Tony ninje son dojo belam zeje zejo kanje dende gun chana be mo tenzin jazo la sowa devso da yu jin. Okay, thank you. Yeah. I think it is beneficial for all of us, those who are present here physically, as well as those who are in the Zoom. The preciousness of your time, having the full meaning of precious human rebirth that you are actualizing this very present, this very now, having the life force on these human aggregates, which is one of the most favorable vehicle to actualize the path. Such as the three principal aspects of the path, like renunciation, bodhicitta, emptiness. There's no better life, there's no better rebirth than the human rebirth, to to easily understand and easily can able to engage in the practice and easily can able to actualize the path of renunciation because of the sensitivity that human intelligence, the human human mind, and the human cells that carry the sensitivity towards the feelings like such as suffering, such as joy, suffering and happiness. You see, if we happen to be born, even its favorable realm, like such as God, reborn as a God, the gods, they don't carry the similar basis of the aggregates that we human beings carry, the sensitiveness, the sensitive. So be patient with my broken English. So sensitivity. So therefore, then also, since from the birth, until to the last day of this very life that's sustained on the basis of human aggregates, full of suffering. From one perspective, the sufferings are actually very meaningful. Of course, just suffering being out there is not good enough, and not beneficial enough for our spiritual practice, like such as in the lower realm, like hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm. They don't have the human intelligence to understand suffering as a suffering. Of course, we human too, most of the time get distracted to know suffering as a suffering, especially in relation to suffering of change. The essential pleasures that we experience in our life, we have this grasping of believing it is a true happiness, but in fact those are suffering. Then the suffering of pain, of course, human beings, far more sensitive than any other living beings. Then understanding of the pervasive compounded suffering. Human intelligence very much is the one that have the capability to understand, easier than any of the beings in other realms, even in the fortunate realm, like God, form and formless realms. So therefore, the renunciation is the basis of all the higher wisdoms and all the higher path, higher attitudes. This marvelous attitude of altruism, this amazing wisdom of emptiness, can only be developed when you have the basis of mind of renunciation, isn't it? Mind of renunciation. The reason is, if you don't have any reasons to overcome the samsara, the suffering, and if we don't have any reasons of our objective, such as liberation, enlightenment to be obtained, then why we need emptiness? Why we need wisdom of emptiness? And why we need to develop attitude of altruism, loving kindness, compassion? All this, no need. We are okay. Not necessary of those, isn't it? So therefore, because of the suffering the suffering that we carry, the samsara that very much of our existence now, recognizing that as a suffering and aspiring to overcome that and aspire to actualize the perfect freedom from all the suffering it is causes, then you adopt the path, the wisdom and attitude. So therefore, how fortunate that we have this human intelligence and human aggregates where we can easily understand the meaning of renunciation and able to develop that path. At least at this even at the very beginning, even though it's not spontaneous kind of rising of that renunciation as a path, but at least through creation, through our wisdom, we can able to appreciate this practice, practice of renunciation. Then, as far as concerned with the practice of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, everyone is already, training in it, even though may not have developed as a path yet, but we have that sensibility in our heart, appreciating, those attitudes, etc. So from that point of view, I think we are so fortunate, extremely fortunate to have this human life. Yeah, so I think it is important to acknowledge that, how fortunate I am. And while having all this fortune, while having all these favorable conditions and freedom, then I must do more. Since I have limitless capabilities, I must do more for myself, for my family members, and for the rest of the sentient being, for the rest of the world. And that is very much, developing, first step is developing our heart. Developing our heart in altruism. And that can be done effectively when we have the basis of certain degree of, control over our mind, control over our emotion. You see, then we can, if we have a certain degree of control over our emotion and our mind, then we can channel our potentials and energy rightly and effectively, you see. And that is the developing shamatha, developing karma fighting, single-pointed concentration. When you have the mind of shamatha, then you already obtained many higher knowledges, many higher wisdoms, such as clairvoyance, able to know, clearer about one's own karma, clearer about others and environmental karmas, environmental, karmic circumstances, so that easier, more effective to benefit, to take care of ourselves and to take care of others' well-being. Even in the very temporal level, when you have the mind of shamatha, very much, free, oneself is free from, the gross, disturbances from emotions. When you obtain shamatha, not necessarily overcome delusions, but you can overpower the delusion. you can overpower the delusion, the arising of the delusion in your heart. By actualizing shamatha, not necessarily you are liberated, and you even realize wisdom of emptiness directly, but then you have a quite stable degree of antidote that you can effectively apply effectively can, apply the arising of delusions, or even the delusion arises, it will not bring great deal of harm, or great deal of impact to disturbing the self and others. So yeah, so then when you have shamatha, then in our day-to-day life, very much direct your mind, that direct your thinkings, and accordingly with the way how you want your mind to think. You see, so how wonderful if we achieve that kind of capability. It's so obvious. Most of the sufferings comes in our way very much because of unable to control our emotion, unable to control our thinking. Even though physically, environmentally, everything is wonderful, but then our mind sometimes can go out of control, and most of the time it go out of control in negative emotion, right? Such as anger, such as attachment, ego, jealousy, etc. And those emotions are very hurtful. So when you have shamatha, then very much avoid, not necessarily, when you obtain shamatha, not necessarily all these emotions are purified, but still, you can suppress them, or you can overcome by having negative impacts. You see, then in our day-to-day life, physically and mentally, always enjoy the plenty, the great mental joy. Always live in peace and joy, and great deal of sustainable joy. Then physically, enjoy the comfortableness, the essential, blissful experiences, that you enjoy both mentally and physically, when you achieve shamatha. Then one become free from tiredness. One become free from sleep. No need to sleep, no need to feel tired, will not feel tired. Then your mind is very much, very much naturally always attracted to virtuous mind, virtuous thoughts. Always attracted to inspirational kind of thinkings, and never get exhausted, from that. Then naturally, because of that, you accumulate, immense of merits, because you cultivate virtue consistently. So, immense of virtues, meritorious virtues that you accumulate. Then meritorious virtues are the causes for our future happiness. You see, so you accumulate abundance and abundance of causes for future happiness. So when you achieve shamatha like that, then when you achieve shamatha, you start to you obtain many conducive conditions for our spiritual practice. You gain many yogic conducive conditions. The great yogics, an example, from from Vajrayana practice, the meditators or the yogics' ambition is to actualize Buddhahood within that very lifetime and purify entire negativities, within that very lifetime, and have a clear understanding of the impermanent nature of life. Then the duration of the human life is so short. So very much the ambition is to actualize Buddhahood within a few years' time, like that kind of urge. And in order to deliver the success of that pursuit, you require the many tools of yogic conducive conditions, so that wherever you practice, you can practice, stay put there, without any disturbances, without any elemental disturbances, emotional disturbances, including by disturbances of not finding food, disturbances of harm by others like animals, wild animals, disturbances, if necessary, to change the places of meditation in order to enhance certain yogas in relation to certain blessed places, the conducive grounds, so the yogi travel and change places. So there's no time to go by, travel hours and hours and days. So they have these conducive conditions of, we call as the quick fit. Then like such as like tumu capabilities, the inner fire, capabilities, so that no elemental disturbances like such as cold and hot and etc. disturb you. You see, you can remain in very isolated, deep in the jungle or in a very bare cave, and then no need to disturb your sessions, your practices, because of you're hungry. You need to find food, so you can live without needing to eat normal our human food. So rather they remain in the conducive condition, yogic conducive conditions, such as the Chulen practices, from air, from small piece of fruits or flowers or dew, or medicinal herbs, etc. So you see, so all these capabilities very much dependent on the basic capability of shamatha. So if you don't have shamatha capability, then even you have a high Sukha tantric like initiations and tantric knowledge of tantric practices, you won't able to develop all these conducive conditions for the practice. So so those who really serious about such intense practice, then shamatha is must develop. The single pointed concentration or karma abiding is must developed. Even for a common practice, not necessarily tantra, but even for us to do a very fruitful retreat on Lamrim, very fruitful retreat on compassion, or even able to do a very effective, compassion in action, activities. When you have shamatha, then it will bring the next level of its impact and benefits. You see, so so the great masters, they emphasize an example like my late guru, Ishalama Koncho. Then few times, if you really want to benefit sentient being effectively, then first you should strive to achieve shamatha. First, if you truly want to dedicate your life serving for the sentient being, if you want to serve effectively, then first thing you should put effort to actualize karma abiding, capability of a single pointed concentration. Yes. So therefore, whether it is for bit longer lasting temporary happiness, or for everlasting happiness, or to deliver effective worldly activities, maybe gardening, maybe doing job, doing counting money, or if you want to like quickly, develop the entire 5 parts and 10 bhumis and actualize enlightenment, the capability of shamatha or single pointed concentration is must need. It's most beneficial. If you want to do bring the best benefit. So like that. Yeah. So can you imagine, you and your neighbor doing the same size of garden, doing the gardening, and have the same amount of plants that you need to plant, and you have the same tool of gardening tool, and the one you have the shamatha, or not even reach to shamatha, but certain degree of the capability of single pointed concentration, then other one don't have, and maybe, so if you go for the race, and maybe the other one maybe take maybe half a day, you may finish within 5 minutes. So yeah, so it's so beneficial, so not just for spiritual practice, but even for our day-to-day life. And how wonderful that we don't need to sleep at all, and there are masters like Gyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche, who don't sleep, and I myself witnessed that, by my own eyes. I witnessed that. That was at the very beginning, when I first become monk. So that's around the age of 9. And I hear in the monastery some of the seniors, says that, our master, our guru, he don't sleep. So even for young children, that's not possible. How possible? That won't be true, But then at the same time, time to time you hear this and you start to develop curiosity and really, you want to know whether it's true or not. So I got the opportunity to live when I was little in the living room where where the once there's a 4 rooms. So the front one, Lama Yeshe's room, then the next one, Lama Sopa Rinpoche's room. Then this side, the end is our abbot, Khenso Rinpoche, Lama Thundu's room. And this side, Lama Kuncho's room, is Lama Kuncho's room. Then later, they build the another story, the wooden kind of structured room, which is Lama Sopa Rinpoche's room on top. So Rinpoche start to live on top there, and has 2 doors and quite a number of windows, glass windows. And for Rinpoche, day and night, on the lights as a light offering. So I was assigned to do the like food and drinks, the offering. And also later, I was assigned to do the water bowl offerings in Rinpoche's room. So, and I start to make my time schedule to check whether he's really not sleeping or sleeping, because I need to sleep. I cannot survive without sleep. And early morning, I also need to go to puja, the morning puja. So I have to organize. That time the puja started quite early, maybe around 5, maybe 5:30, 5, maybe something like that. We need to get ready, I think. So one day I check, let's say from 10 to 11. Then I go to bed. Then another day, okay, 11 to 12. Then whatever needed time for me to sleep, I do that before. Then like that, and throughout the night. Then the whole night, either he's writing, texts, or doing compositions, or doing meditation, sitting like that. But never so he's lying down, and sometimes chanting like that. Then there's a certain period of time he's like quiet and closing his eye, but sits straight like this. So then I start to doubt, maybe he's sleeping like that. There are human being, maybe sleep like that. Maybe no need to sleep, So then the moment so that time I was in the room, sometime at the corner, and sometime from the glass door from the other side. So there's one day, just happened to be at the corner of the room and waiting there and see, just checking he will not like that, but he's not doing that. He's not doing that. Then the moment I had this thought, maybe he's sleeping like this. And then Tenzin, what are you doing? And he don't even see you, the physical, because I was hiding. And the moment I have this thinking, and said that, what are you doing? Call my name. And I was freaked out, So then, but then still, maybe that time, maybe he's awake. Maybe other time, maybe he's sleeping. And then there are many other incidents that really, having clairvoyance and really, only meditating rather than not sleeping. So then, so like that, I witnessed that, And after some years later, I got opportunity to serve about 3 years, traveling together. And my duty at that time, Venerable Roger and myself, only 2 of us. And my duty is night duty, to be around Rinpoche, and whole night, is full of activities and never sleep. And once the morning start, and then whole day schedule start. So this is definitely, of course, the thing for sure is definitely it is a result of shamatha. And my late guru and quite a number of senior Western students traveled with Lama Zopa Rinpoche to Tibet. That was sometime, I think 1980, maybe 6 or 7, I don't know exact date, exact year, but something around that. So I think, I don't know whether that time Geshe Sherab was there or not. There's one another Rinpoche called Gelik Gyatso Rinpoche is there. So there's one time Geshe Sherab also traveled, but don't know whether that same, maybe Geshe Sherab maybe traveled maybe other time with Rinpoche. So that time, Lama Kunjo was traveling with Rinpoche, and Rinpoche's activities goes on 24 hours, day after day like this, and many of the students really cannot catch up, and people start to ask Lama Kunjo, how possible in such a high altitude, and like Rinpoche without tired, without needing to sleep, he's just non-stop in action, performing practices. And then Lama Kunjo said, Rinpoche achieved shamatha because of that. You see. So anyway, like that. Then my late guru, Geshe Lama Kunjo himself, he when he was doing the 26 years of meditation in the Himalaya, his disciples have witnessed that he don't sleep. So whole night he does sessions, and that time he was performing Nyungne practices whole night. There are many period of time, like do long prostrations. Then throughout the day do meditation sessions. So it's 24 hours practicing like that, and those are the impact of the shamatha. The very basic condition is the shamatha, like that. Okay, so there are some, and there are, so there are many evidence. Even in this, this time or period, there are practitioners that who develop those qualities. And my reason of sharing these stories is that, we also, we too, if we put effort, we can able to develop. You see. So now, it's a single pointed concentration. When we talk about single pointed concentration, it's not necessarily, not necessarily talking about karma writing, and not necessarily talking about shamatha. So karma writing and shamatha, I think, is a synonymous, But single pointed concentration, that which is the, what you call that which is also element of the karma writing or shamatha, but it also just a general, training of your focus, single pointed focus. And this single pointed concentration, the common teaching on single pointed concentration, serve as a basis to develop shamatha and karma writing, or the single pointed concentration in relation to karma writing. And the best object of meditation that we can train, that foundation, the foundational or preparatory, the training on concentration, the object we can, best we can use breathing, because focusing on the breathing. So even in the Lamrim, in Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching, Great Lamrim recommended to use breathing as first object of our single pointed training. Then their advice, train firstly to able to stay focused up to 24 minutes. See whether you can able to stay focused up to 24 minutes. Of course, we will discuss this more detail later, but just to overview. Then train, for 1.5 hours. Then train for about 3 hours. Then after that, then you see, can you able to stay focused single-pointedly on the breathing, as much as you wish, could be whole day without any distraction, like that. So, yeah. So the main thing when we train single-pointed concentration, is the capability of placing our knowing, our awareness to the chosen object. Of course, recommended the breathing as object, but you can choose any other object like colors or light or objects, any object that you wish to. But breathing is natural in us. So be aware of the sound of the breathing, or just knowing of that you are breathing, or you manage the breathing. Your mindfulness manage the breathing, like taking the breathing out. Your awareness, your mindfulness take, as if like a breathing is like an object. You pick that object and taking it out and taking it in, just simply, doing that exercise without any distraction. So when we talk about distraction, is the distractions of, very much can summarize into 2 categories. One is distraction of excitement, another one is distraction of dullness. So distractions of the excitement is very much in relation to attachment, grasping, attachment, or the element of excitement, an element of wanting, an element of like craving, whether it can be feeling, taste, colors, sounds, So those are the one of the distraction that need to be overcome, or trained to overcome, to able to successfully remain single-pointed focus on the chosen object. So another obstacle is the dullness. The dullness very much has the element of laziness, not giving up quickly. The dullness has the element of being very dull in your focus. Sleepy kind of feeling. Sleep itself is also part of the dullness. During the chosen time of meditation, if you fall asleep, then you fall into dullness. Or you lose the focus, because when you train the single-pointed concentration, the 2 things has to be achieved. One is clear knowing of the object, and the second one is placing your awareness, in a full knowing of it. You see, so there's a clarity, but at the same time, there's a full force of focus. So just having clarity, but having not focus is not good enough. Having clarity, but then clarity is once a while, your focus loses from the very defined object from the very beginning. When you choose to focus, then you cannot develop the single-pointedness concentration. You see, we have this single-pointed concentration in relation to discursive object, through discursive manner, like thinking too many one after another. I'm very focused on my driving, you are aware of so many things, and they say, I'm full focus. I'm fully concentrated on my driving. We say that, isn't it? So here, the single point of concentration is not about that, not about that type of concentration. Here is whatever amount of object, whatever amount of object of meditation that you define, that I want to just focus that much. And you have to have the capability to sustain, that focus during the period of time that you wish to be focused. You wish to remain your mind there. You see, yeah. So then there's one clarification that the practice of single point of concentration, even the shamatha practice, up to you see, even up to the 9 levels, is a common path to Buddhist and non-Buddhist. Common path. So non-Buddhist also has capability to develop that. So what is different for Buddhist practice to develop single point of concentration, shamatha, is it has to be virtuous practice. It has to be dharma practice. So therefore, the way to do that is, if the object of your meditation is not a virtuous or not dharma, dharma means maybe you choose the object of meditation as a Buddha's face. So Buddha's features are enlightened quality. So the object is a dharma material. Or you choose an object such as emptiness, or love, compassion, whatever, or the sound of mantra, om, etc. If, as recommended before, use the breathing. So breathing by nature is not a virtue. It's a neutral phenomenon. So in order to make the practice of that training in single point of concentration as a dharma practice, virtuous practice, then you have to create a dharma motivation, virtuous motivation at the beginning. So before you do the practice, you do all the preliminary practices such as setting up motivation, taking refuge, etc., etc. Then even you choose a neutral object for your meditation, the practice still become a dharma or virtuous practice. So these are the two things. So now, in a serious note, so this teaching on karma abiding, can be divided into maybe we can divide into 3 sections. The first one is the first one need to discuss the preparatory practice, preparatory practice, not Mexican pepper, not Mexican preparatory. This one is shamatha pepper, very, 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 very spicy one. So preparatory practice, and that also comes in the 2 sections. One is the what do you call preparational, gathering of the preparational conducive condition. Then there are 6 6 conducive conditions as a preparation for to set into training to develop shamatha. Then the second one, the second one is actually engaging in the actual actual preparation. So I don't know how to define.
it makes any difference? These two, little difference. So I will discuss detail later. So the first is all about preparation. Getting all the conducive conditions, which is one of the most important for the successful development of shamatha. Second one is the actual practice. Now relying on those preparation. Now, how to train, how to do the meditation, how to develop the shamatha, and that comes with the serious discussion on the stages of the mind of shamatha. How to develop stage by stage, and that also by the conditional factor of 6 forces, 4 attentions. With the tools of 6 forces, 4 attentions, along the stages of the level of 9 level of mental stages, performing the training to eradicate the 5 faults by applications of 8 antidotes. So all this technical detail I will discuss. Maybe we may not ever discuss this session. Maybe next session. Then how that makes the progress from first level to up to the 9 level of shamatha. Then the last one is very much the definition of you have actualized the shamatha. Okay, when you have accomplished the shamatha, then how does it feel? How does it look like? So very much I think in these three headings that we may need to discuss. Okay, now I better look into the note. So like in Lamrim, in Lama Tsongkhapa's great Lamrim Chemo. If you want to read the text, you can read the English translation. There are 3 volumes, so you can read the 3rd volume on the teachings on the serenity. The serenity also referring to karma writing or shamatha. So it says this. First one is relying on the precondition for meditative serenity. So that's the correct word, precondition. So then there are 6 preconditions. The first one is dwelling in an appropriate area, dwelling in an appropriate place. So that is very much finding a correct place to do retreat. Yeah. So anyway, so first one is dwelling in the appropriate area. Second one is having little desire. Third one is being content. Fourth one is completely giving up many activities. Fifth one is pure ethical discipline. Sixth one is completely getting rid of thought of desire. So so in Lama Tsongkhapa's teaching, Lama Tsongkhapa said like this, relying on the preconditions, the dwelling in the appropriate area. What it means, the area should have 5 attributes. So the first one is easy access, so that necessities such as food and clothing may be readily obtained. Santa Fe is a good place. Then the second one is being a good place, being a good place to live. I think Santa Fe is qualified for that also, isn't it? Then
where there are no wild bees, uh, such as predators, no enemies. So wild bees. I heard they got some wild cats. No. What is that animal? Coyotes. Oh, oh, bears also. Okay, so then need to think about it. So, but maybe not in the houses that you're living, I think. So only in the jungle maybe. And so I think your own home, I think is still okay maybe. So then being on a good pieces of ground, in that it does not breed sickness. So I mean, it's you're still living in your house, isn't it? Because you feel good. I mean, even from many perspectives, your house has been very conducive for you. I mean, your health, for everything. So it's your house. Can be the place. The land is, you can say, very peaceful land. Very conducive. Blessed land. You can say that. Then offering good companionship. In so far as your companions are ethically disciplined and like-minded. So yeah. So I think here the companions here, we're very much talking about in fact, someone who know the practice, someone who can inspire you, someone who can, if you have questions that you can ask, like that. And most of all, not just intellectual qualification, but someone who is very ethical, who is very disciplined, who don't disturb you, of their misbehaviors and very rigid mind, etc., like that. So I mean, nowadays, maybe a bit different from the past. So this is a time where there's no mobile phone. So maybe today's time, I think easily can ask question through voice message. So maybe not necessarily, you need to have a friend just living next door, or living in the house or living in the retreat hut that who know the practice. As long as you have a good connection with someone who know the practice, then you can easily ask, So like that. So in short, the finding a conducive retreat place. This is talking about if you are really serious about developing shamatha and you want to go into a retreat. And if with all these conducive conditions that we're going to discuss here, on the basis of that, then if you develop shamatha, it says within 6 months, there's a possibility of actualizing the realization. So the most important is the precondition that has to be placed. In like in Himalayas, in Tibet, the meditators, they prefer to do such training in some holy places, some hermitage caves, which are used by past meditators, past practitioners, and they regard the place has a bless element that which will impact your practice. So so therefore
if you want to, if you cannot afford to, travel like that, to those holy places, and if you want to choose your own home, your own room as a retreat hut, then beneficial to get blessing, when you go into retreat, to pacify any, hindrances, inner outer secret hindrances, as well as purify if there's any, as any phenomena in the house. Could be the bricks, could be the metals, could be, the foods, the groceries that comes in, if in case there are any impure substance, if in case here impure substance is talking about like, let's say the metal that which build the house, there's element of, the metal that which used to use for weapons, which cause life of others. So then it become impure, you see. Then so the soil or the land that people have cremated, or cause life of someone, maybe like do killings, etc. Then the ground become contaminated. So there are ritual, before going to retreat, to purify that, So you can invite the lamas or the sanghas, or even those senior lay practitioners who know, to how to do this practice. There's one ritual called Gektor. There's thorn offering, the ritual cake offering, to clear the hindrances, which normally also conduct that, the lamas before they conduct any initiations, to purify the place, to purify the listener, and if there's any, impure substance that which we're going to use for initiation, if there's any such impure substance to purify. So do Gektor practice. So you can use that Gektor ritual text and follow that practice, to bless that retreat house. So I think that can able to actualize the first condition. First precondition is conducive place or conducive retreat hut. So that's the that's the first condition, like that. So in our busy life, and also the holy places and the caves are very, those caves that used by many past realized shamatha masters, like mostly in India, Nepal, Tibet. So that's quite far from here, isn't it? I heard there's a lot of cave in Santa Fe. Is that true? Some caves? Did I hear correctly? Okay. So anyway, if the training don't start now, then when we're going to start? It's very much, I think, that even though if we may not able to go into that strict 6 months of like a shamatha retreat, but at least we can start with the preconditional training of single-pointed concentration. As I mentioned before, single-pointed concentration also serves as a basis later. That it helps for the sweep training in shamatha. So, and that I think can do in our home, wherever you are. And also, I think we don't have time to wait for a particular like kind of amount of time that I can go into retreat, because life is quite busy, isn't it? So I think just start to do maybe just 1 session a day, or maybe 2, if not at least once, in the morning before you go to work. Then you do the training to able to focus your mind to the designated object of your meditation, and the breathing exercise. Let's say single-pointed concentration, meditation on breathing. So as I mentioned before, first you see to develop at least 24 minutes, like what Lama Tsongkhapa recommended, see whether you can able to achieve that. Then after that, then you try to achieve 1.5 hours. Then after that, then try to achieve for 3 hours. Then once a while you see maybe whole morning. Then after that, say, okay, now I am really ready for actual shamatha retreat. Now I better kick off somewhere, or maybe it could be the same place in your house, or maybe really can dedicate to go to some hermitage. And 6 months in one way for that kind of benefit is not that long, you can really can find time, so like that. Then the second conducive precondition is you do not strongly crave more or better robes. So this is, when Lama Tsongkhapa was teaching this, very much talking to the monks, that kind of thing, So here, what relate, to all of us is be less materialistic, and including of the clothes and the home and all the things that we have, whatever you have, be contented with that, or don't long for more. Don't long for more. So here, having little desire, the first one here, especially talking in relation to material object. So having less desire to, gathering objects, material objects. So any material objects. As I mentioned before, if in case your pre-training on concentration is so good, and you are ready to go for 6 months of retreat somewhere, maybe those many things can be obstacle for you to let go. So you see, so from very beginning, try to have a limited, whatever you have, just be contented and try not to gather. If there's anything that you want to give away, better give away, like that. So having a little desire, the second. And the third one is being content. You're always content to have even the poorest robes, etc. So this one is especially meaning that you are happy with least you have, and start to train with just having maybe just two clothes, just change, and maybe you start to train to just you're okay with maybe two kind of foods, not every day changing different dinner, because when you really go into a strict retreat, you may not get many type of dinner, maybe every day tuppa, every day, soup. So yes, and also the weather, the temperature, like whatever comes in your way, you train yourself to be happy with that. With little cold, you say, oh, I must be warm. A little hot, I must on the aircon. Or a little gloomy, you feel like, oh, today I better sleep rather than doing meditation. Oh, little like bright sun, you feel like, okay, today I better take a little walk outside, instead of doing my meditation. So, so it's the main meaning is whatever comes in your way, you are still able to settle your heart. You're okay, just telling yourself, I'm okay, I'm fine, I can carry on, like that kind of spirit, that kind of spirit you need to develop. Then the fourth one is completely giving up many activities. Oh, so this is one of very important criteria for the shamatha practice, because your mind has to be trained on single point of focus. So many activity you naturally have to give a lot of energy for that, and that will obstacle you. So during the period of training on concentration, let's say every day to day, at least that dedicated time in the morning, you really let go of any other concerns, any other activities. It's just go completely into the training. So, and when you do able to find time to dedicate 6 months of actual training in shamatha, then during that period, you have nothing to kind of have a concern of need to settle things. So including of paying the bills. There are a lot of things. Weekly you have to handle, isn't it? So all these things has to be settled first. So yeah, so you cannot have any other activity than the basic necessities, such as need to eat 3 meals or 2 meals, 1 meal, whatever, during the retreat. You need to go to toilet, yes, and you may need to do some physical exercise, which is necessary. So maybe like kind of walking around the retreat huts, or in the retreat huts, exercising, maybe doing prostrations or etc. But other than that, no other extra activities. And this can be quite hard if we don't train from now. Even physically, you discipline to sit in one place, our mind start to wander, start to have concerns, start to take a lot of responsibilities, and we need to train from now like that. Then the fifth one is pure ethical discipline. So that's one of the another most important precondition, moral discipline. So moral discipline, it's not about physical kind of reframing from engaging in harmful activities, but mainly it's talking about the heart of reframing from any negative emotions and negative actions. So the Tsutim is very much like it's very much the heart that you refrain from harmful actions from your body, speech, and mind. So refrain from indulging in desirous thought, refrain from indulging in thought of aversion, thought of jealousy, etc. So then, if you are someone that who practice refuge, then your basis of your moral ethic is the refuge practice. So always have a pure refuge conduct. Like following, just the teachings of the Buddha. Because when you take refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, isn't it? So there you just put everything aside, just strictly follow the Buddha's example. Then strictly follow the Dharma instruction. Strictly follow the Sangha's inspirations. You see, the practitioner's inspirations. So that will keep your body, speech, and mind in discipline, in well disciplined. So then, if you have a higher precept than that on the basis of refuge, then like such as Bodhisattva precepts, then those are the guideline to make sure your 3 doors are fully well disciplined. Then if you have a tantric precepts, then of course so then if you are sangha, monk or nun, then your monks and nuns vows will be the main guideline to make sure your precepts are pure. You see, your moral disciplines are pure. So this is how you can check yourself. And if you just if you don't have refuge practice, none of the other precepts, and you still like to train in single point concentration, you can. And for that, you just observe the basic human ethical disciplines. Like that. So, you say, it says the meaning of it says, you do not violate precepts, doing deeds that are wrong by nature or wrong by prohibitions. Mhm. Either in the case of vows or individual liberation, or in the case of Bodhisattva vows. So that's very much what I said. So there are actions, of negativities can be defined, the negative by the nature of the action, by the nature of the, what do you call the, negative by the nature of the action, negative by the nature of the phenomena, you see. So, or like such as like killing, action of killing, then the action of causing the life of others is negative. Is negative, So then then what? Negative that by nature. What example you can give? Negative, wrong by it is nature. So act of killing, isn't it? Isn't it? Maybe that one is let's say like a drug. Then the substance itself is negative. It carry the, it carry the element of, causing harm, whoever takes it. Virtually takes it or non-virtually takes it, it harms. So by nature is wrong, is negative. Then like that. So there are many things, like from the 10 non-virtuous action. Like killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct. All these are by action, is wrong not to do. It's negative. Then malice, malicious attitudes. By nature, it is wrong. Anger is by nature, it is wrong. So all this has to be avoided, reframed. So then when you reframe of engaging in this, is remaining in ethical discipline. Now then the number 6 is completely getting rid of thought of desire. So that is talking about the attitude. The earlier one, the number 2 is having little desire, is talking about mainly related to the object, the desire in relation to gathering material objects. The number 6 is completely getting rid of thought of desire, is mainly talking about the attitude, the subject. Even though you don't have any desire of gathering many objects, but your heart filled with full of desire. Could be like sexual desire, could be material desire from the heart, and those are harmful, obstacle for developing shamatha, like that. So so these are the 6 preconditions. So Maitreya, in the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra, it says, the intelligent practice in a place which is accessible is a good place to live, offer good ground and good companions, and has the requirement of comfortable yogic practice. So Lama Tsongkhapa, line out this teaching also based on the Maitreya's teaching. And there's one great Kadamba master, Geshe Zopa, says, we think that the fault lies only in our personal instruction. As we then seek only personal instruction, we are unable to attain concentration. This is the result of not abiding under these conditions. So, widely, spoken that in order to achieve shamatha, the instruction, the technique of developing shamatha, those like 9 attitudes, 9 levels of mind, like 6 forces, all these are regarded most important. Then you're able to develop shamatha. But not everyone discuss the importance of the precondition. So here, Geshe Zopa says, actually, not the most important, in fact, is the precondition. These 6 kind of preconditions are the most important for the development of shamatha. Even more important than those very, how to say, technical kind of like instructions. So from there we can see, how important it is. Okay, seems like I'm already finish your time, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, then maybe we have to stop here. So maybe I briefly mention this, maybe just 1 minute more. As I mentioned earlier, that the precondition can divide into 2. Remember, the second section is the preparation. So the preparation, after you find this, 6 type of the precondition, then after that, you prepare for the actual meditation. So the preparation is very much, talk about the correct motivation. As a Buddhist practitioner, then the motivation is extremely important. Otherwise, if in case you are attaining serenity or the single-pointed mind, even from the first level, even not even reach to that, the first level of the mind from the 9, but just training, this preconditional single-pointed training on breathing. If you start to taste even a little fracture of it, you start to enjoy your time. Your body start to feel so good. Your mind start to feel so peaceful, so joyful. And you can be quite liking it, and you may start to, spend a lot of time doing that. And if you don't carry positive motivation, then just developing that the concentration is not good enough. You have a great opportunity to make all those wonderful time as a most beneficial virtue. So especially from the Mahayanic Dharma, most of us here, follow Mahayanic teaching. Then the motivation is bodhicitta, altruistic motivation. That's the most important. Then the second is the posture, the meditation posture. Maybe I will not go into detail, which most of you are familiar with it. The 7 Vairocana meditation posture, like sitting, cross-legged, sitting, back straight, then putting arm, a bit like, put the 2 hands together, putting arm a bit open like this, etc. Then putting your tongue on the upper plate, etc. So there's 7 Vairocana meditation postures, which is very common. But it is very much depend on individuals, karma, and also the body structure, which are also mostly influenced by past karma. So not necessarily always has to do meditation on the seven direction posture. If you have difficulty in crossing leg, then not necessarily. All the Buddha's sitting examples are the meditation posture. You see the way how Maitreya Buddha sit, like most of you are sitting like Maitreya Buddha on the chair, like the way how the Tara sits, right leg stretching out, never stretching in, etc. Like sitting like this, So of course there are great meanings. Generally, for most people, the seven Vairocana meditation postures is the most favorable, and it also has each of the posture has a great significance, like two arm coming together, like joining of wisdom and method, crossing Vajra leg, the two legs posture of the cross Vajra is very much, if in case you happen to enlighten on that cushion, then you need a Vajra ground, indestructible ground. Otherwise, the ground will be too shaky. So very much to create the auspiciousness for you to, actualize enlightenment on that very cushion. So that's why the cross Vajra legs signify for that. And all these are the examples that what Buddha himself used when he is attaining, enlightenment, when he is in meditation like that. But then there's one story in the past. In Tibet, there's one meditator, serious meditator, but then he have a trouble of achieving any realization. So he was using this seven Vairocana meditation posture, So later he went to ask one of the senior meditator who also had some clairvoyance and says, I'm doing everything perfect. The instructions are perfect. My postures are perfect, accordingly, exactly like in the text. But I'm not gaining any realization. And the master says, from your posture is wrong. He said, no, his posture is correct. He said, no, wrong. Wrong to you. The posture is correct generally, but wrong to you. And he said, then what is my correct posture? He said, you have to meditate like the how, after cow eat the food and lie down and rest. So you have to meditate like the cow, resting. Then he said, how come? How? He says, oh, your past life was cow. So there's a great karmic influence to your even this physical structure, the channels. So your flow of the energy is not good. All blockage. You sit like the seven version posture. So for him, you need to sleep like the cow. Then he said, try it out. Then after he did the meditation like lying down like the cow, and he attained the realization so quickly. So this is the example. Individually have to check at least some time doing different posture. Say which posture that I really feel the inspiration, and feel the impact, even slightest impact to the chosen object of your meditation. If you're developing compassion, okay, if this way, oh yeah, so effective, etc. like that. You see, so it's so meditation posture. So two things: motivation, meditation posture. Then the actual process. We discuss that in the next session. Thank you. Any questions? Otherwise, we can stop because I took your extra time. I don't mind. Carry on. Anyway, if no question, then we can move on. I think there's a medicine Buddha puja, isn't it? At 12 o'clock. No problem. Yeah. Oh yeah. Please. Yeah.
jo.
Yang jo sen jo re. Ma ye ba na ma ye jo je. Ye wa nya ba me ba we. Go ne go do pe. Thank you very much. Tujie Che. Thank you.